Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Geek Out Room podcast. Don't forget you can watch episodes on the Sauceless Entertainment YouTube channel. And you can listen to episodes over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just type in Geek Out Room podcast in the search engine, and you should find us on there. Today, we're talking about Rainbow the anime. This is an anime that I'm surprised isn't talked about more. Granted, I believe it only had 26 episodes, and I do not remember if the episodes covered the entire manga. I know the manga went on breaks and hiatus through its time and kind of rushed its conclusion in a way, but still the anime does not cover everything. So I understand why maybe people feel some type of way and just don't talk about it. But even with the 26 episodes that are available, it's one of those animes that were really hard to find when it first came out. I believe it debuted in 2010 in Japan and never had like an official debut in America until years later. And I think this predates like the Sony acquisition of Crunchyroll and then the Crunchyroll merger with Funimation, all that good stuff. So now this anime is a lot easier to find, but back then it wasn't. And it's one of those animes that I will say will change your life or at least give you a different perspective on life. It's one of those shows that I truly believe gives more than it takes. And the show centered around these prisoners, right? And this is like, I believe, around the 1950s, so a couple years post World War II, which means a couple years post the atomic bombs that landed on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I think Nagasaki is the second one. And I believe a lot of the use from this one that got thrown to this basically correction center are from the bomb that dropped on Hiroshima. And this anime dives into some serious topics. One for sure is for mature audiences, and it has a lot of really tough subject material, man. And so if you're really easily triggered or you have some type of trauma that can be triggered through very serious topics such as I don't even know what to, you know what, this is a podcast, let's just talk about it. It covers rape, it covers the prison system, it covers corruption not only on the political level but also because this political level stems into the prison system. It covers family dynamics, it covers foreigners, especially during that time. It covers so many different things that can be really tough. And this anime does not shine away from these tough subject materials. And at least in my opinion, when I watched it, it's been a while since I watched it, but from what I remember, it is not an anime that just has these things in it for the sake of shock value. There are certain shows, there are certain animes, there are certain movies that will have very traumatic or really messed up scenes, and they don't serve too much of a narrative purpose. Sometimes they're just there for shock value or to make a character just evil for the sake of evil. There are characters in this show that are just in Rainbow, the show, that are just evil, but this is more just being evil for the sake of evil. Because yes, the characters may be evil, but there's always some type of cause. And not that these particular evil characters have, like the warden or the guards, have a traumatic past that make it this way and they explain it. No, it's like, hey, these people are evil because the people above them are evil, and because the people above them turn a blind eye to this corrupt system that allows these bad people to have authority over other human beings. Okay, so this is a show that tackles that kind of reality, especially in a time period where they just lost a major war, which was World War II. They experienced a full brunt of the atomic bomb, and there's crime going all over the place. The crime is rampant. There's so many different things going on. People have deformities because of the radiation. People have lost their families to the atomic bomb. So it tackles post World War II. I don't even know if it's called Reconstruction, but post World War II of trying to find a semblance of what life could be like again. And because of that, people are stealing, people are committing murder, committing so many crimes. people are going hungry, they don't have shelter, the winter's really cold, the summers are really hot. People have a lot of dreams, but everything seems like a dead end, like a wasteland. And so you have these prisoners who are sent to this detention center basically, and they go through it. Again, it covers what happens in prison sometimes when it comes to sexual assault, when it comes to guards doing very heinous and diabolical things to the inmates, exploring the power dynamic that prison guards have to prisoners, especially when I want to illustrate enough. Yes, the guards just do some heinous shit because they just are evil, but again, this anime illustrates time and time again that it is the system that allows these people who have this much power and doesn't really check them. There's no checks and balances in place. There's no proper vetting system to be like, hey, we need straight and narrow guys in here that can keep these inmates in line and reform them, because a lot of them are leaving. They're not here forever. They're not here for life. A lot of them are leaving and will be reintroduced into society. So how can we make them better than when they left? Like when they came in, how can we make them better when they leave? They're going to end up right back in here, which is kind of what the prison system is. And they kind of explore that, not to too much depth, but they also kind of explore that where there's a vicious cycle in this thing. A lot of these people are here for a very long time. And a lot of these people are like, hey, when you get out here, there's nothing for you out there. You're going to end up right back here again. And you're going to stay here till you're old and gray and become OG. And it tackles a lot of that. And these prisoners, they find each other, and they're all young, so they find each other in this prison. They each have their own traumas and reasons for distrusting people, but there's this big brother figure nicknamed Bro. I think he's the eldest one. He's the biggest one. He has like this protective like nature of these other inmates who are all like younger, and they kind of take to him, and he kind of protects them. He kind of gets them to open up a little bit, gets them to trust each other, and all these inmates develop this type of family dynamic in this prison in order to, and also not just because some of them are lacking that adult figure in their lives or that big brother figure in their lives, but also, again, this prison is really messed up, and in order to survive this prison, you really do need to have your own gang / like your own type of family that can look out for each other, because again, sometimes like it's not just the inmates, and trust me, there are inmates in here who are evil and deserve to be in this place and irredeemable, but they're not the only problem. Again, the guards, the people of authority, those are also a huge. The prison doctor is a slime. Oh my god, the prison doctor is a slime ball. It's one of the hardest scenes in anime I've ever had to watch. But there are so many people, so many adults who are in charge of younger people who do not have these young men best interests in heart, regardless if they're in prison or not. So there are so many messed up things that happen to these kids outside the prison and inside the prison. And there's a couple episodes that are when they leave the prison and kind of go about their lives to try to achieve the dreams in which they wanted to achieve when they said they were in prison. They want to achieve when they get out. And so there are so many cool dynamics of this show, man. And I'm purposely trying to be vague because I really do think that people should experience this for themselves. Again, I already talked about how many tough themes and traumatic themes there could be in here, so I did give a trigger warning for people who find those kind of topics and not. There also are scenes again when they depict some of these assaults and certain things, and those can be really triggering for people. And they're very uncomfortable scenes to watch. It's very hard to sit through, but it is to these characters' development is what shows their distrust for adults, their distrust for the system, their distrust for I think I said adults, the system, but just for hierarchy in general. And it's that trauma and that distrust is what brings a lot of these inmates together to form this really tight bond that lasts way outside of the days in prison. And there's an incident that happens in the prison now. I won't spoil, but when that incident happens in the prison, well, there's a couple, but there's a huge one that happens that changes the entire group's dynamic. I'm talking about that one. And when that happens, their bond is solidified, and the main character really steps up, which is Mario. And Mario is a pretty cool, awesome main character because he is flawed while he still has some main character, tropes that happen for him and to him, but he is definitely one of those characters that is flawed but really cares for others. And he really has really taken a liking to Bro, which again is the older figure who kind of is the leader of the group in prison. And he really takes after him, emulates him, and he's a key dynamic to what makes this family in this prison work. So again, if you like dramas, you like realistic anime or shows that are real grounded and that really tackle really complex and tough problems, this is definitely an anime for you. Is this anime super nuanced? Is this anime the best at talking about prison reform and all that other kind of stuff? No. It's still an anime. It still has entertainment value at the end of the day, but it definitely is a very graphic show that really depicts some of the really tough realities that face prisons. Again, there are people in prison for a reason, be it innocent or not, is a whole different topic and issue to discuss, but there are people in prison. And there's a whole debate about the prison system. And, you have things like the Stanford prison experiment that really is a big thing. It shows the how you can give power to someone and that dynamic can change them with them and people they have power over. And seeing that kind of in this show is very interesting. And again, the studio, also, I don't think I mentioned this, the studio that animated this show is Madhouse. If you don't know who Madhouse is or you don't remember who Madhouse is, that's the same studio that did Hunter x Hunter 2011. So if you're a huge Hunter x Hunter fan, you're a fan of the animation, you'll be a huge fan of Madhouse's animation for Rainbow. So it's a show that really will get you into some type of mindset. And this is not a show that's a comedy about the prison system like Prison School or some other stuff. This is a very grounded show with some of the most heinous, diabolical acts another human being can do to another human being. And a lot of the show, again, really stems from dreams when you're in the cut. Besides like the prison system and all that stuff, when it comes to just the individual perspective, this anime really shines because it allows you to see what the mind is like for someone who had nothing in life or from a very, very tough background, and you see the character develop, you see them as a human being go through all these trials and tribulations and come out better for it, and you see how bonds can form from even the toughest and darkest places, and how people from various different backgrounds can still come together to protect and love one another in a respectful way. And it's a beautiful yet sad and tough watch. So I definitely recommend people who like adult anime or adult themed shows with very serious subject material, definitely give Rainbow a watch. It is 26 episodes. With that being said, have you watched Rainbow? Let me know in the comments down below. Watch out for spoilers if you do read the comments. If you're commenting, please try not to drop spoilers just because I don't know if everyone's watched it, but I would still like to hear your thoughts. I know that's kind of hard to comment without spoiling it, so maybe put a spoiler sign on your comment or something like that before you start spoiling. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share like always. See y'all in the next one. Peace.